Good morning.
Good morning.
Let's turn to the book of Matthew, chapter 24. Matthew, chapter 24, starting in verse 1. It says, "And Jesus went out and departed from the temple, and his disciples came to him for to show him the buildings of the temple. And Jesus said unto them, See ye not all these things? Verily I say unto you, there shall not be left here one stone upon another that shall not be thrown down. And as he sat upon the Mount of Olives, the disciples came unto him privately, saying, Tell us, when shall these things be? And what shall be the sign of thy coming and of the end of the world? And Jesus answered and said unto them, Take heed that no man deceive you. For many shall come in my name, saying, I am Christ, and shall deceive many. And ye shall hear of wars and rumors of wars. See that ye be not troubled, for all these things must come to pass. But the end is not yet. For nation shall rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom, and there shall be famines and pestilences and earthquakes in diverse places. All these are the beginning of sorrows. Then shall they deliver you up to be afflicted, and shall kill you, and ye shall be hated of all nations for my name's sake. And then shall many be offended, and shall betray one another, and shall hate one another. And many false prophets shall rise, and shall deceive many. And because iniquity shall abound, the love of many shall wax cold. But he that shall endure unto the end, the same shall be saved. And this gospel of the kingdom shall be preached in all the world for a witness unto all nations. And then shall the end come. Then when therefore shall ye therefore shall see the abomination of desolation spoken of by Daniel the prophet stand in the holy place, whoso readeth, let him understand.
Yeah.
Now, right here we have several things that's actually being said as to what is in the end of times. This was spoken by Jesus, and he says that the building of the temple, there's not going to be a stone left, which means that the temple it's not going to be taken care of. Now, this is kind of a beginning picture of what the world sees as who Christ is. They say nothing. They say, just a terrible temple that's just an eyesore. And that's what they think of Christ. It says, For many shall come in my name, saying, I am Christ, and shall deceive many. And ye shall hear the wars and rumors of wars, that ye be not see that ye be not troubled, for all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet. There's a lot of people, in the past that say that they're either God or they're Christ, and it's getting a little bit more prevalent as people don't seem to care who Christ really is. You see evangelists on TV who's, saying, please, put your hand on the TV and I'll heal you. And there's a lot of deceitfulness. It says, For nation shall arise against nation, kingdom against kingdom, there shall be famines and pestilences and earthquakes in diverse places. This is another sign which the desolation, as in the Old Testament, Israel, when the laws were given to Israel, it was told that the more they believed in God, the more things were going to be spiffy. They were, they're going to be taken care of. But the more they got away from God, the more desolate things would be. It was not only as desolate as their spirit was going to be, the desolate that their life was going to be. It's like, so then it says in verse 10, and then shall many be offended, and shall betray one another, and shall hate one another, and many false prophets shall rise, and shall deceive many. And one thing that kind of came into my thought is that, there's different so-called churches that seem to have an ought against churches that have a sound doctrine of Christ. And the Catholic Church seems to have this thing where, well, if you're a Baptist church, you're an enemy. And so the Mormons, they have their own beliefs in where they stick to their own bubble. And a lot of religions, if you don't believe in our religion, we're going to have to kill you. There's different religions that seem to be more prevalent, where they're trying to make enemies more than having to worship Christ. Some of them don't even have Christ to worship. It says in verse 14, and this gospel of the kingdom shall be preached in all the world for a witness unto all nations, and then shall the end come. This gospel shall be preached in all the world for a witness unto all nations. In I think it was, most of the prophets, Jeremiah, Ezra, Nehemiah, can't remember who else. But anyway, when they were, telling Israel, turn back to God, because if you don't, things are going to be completely messed up. And this was before they went into captivity. This was a witness. They were actually proving that Israel was turning away from God, and as a result, God was actually turning away from Israel. The desolation of their hearts was turning into a desolation of their land. And so, the abomination of desolation spoken of by Daniel the prophet. In Daniel, I think it's in chapter 9, chapter 11, and chapter 12, where he's talking about the abomination of desolation. And it's talking about the hearts, where they completely leave God out. And most scholars think, they're going to worship, idols. In a way, I think it's not only idols, but it's the worldly things, the things that are materialistic. The desolation, I kind of read up on the word desolation. It's like a deeper than deep emptiness that is, worth crying over. It's like the desolation of war. It's the desolation of the heart. And anyway, it's the abomination of the spiritual desolation. Anyway, we ought to keep this heart where we ought to keep our love within the Scriptures, the love of each other, the love of trying to get people to accept Christ. We can only preach the gospel. We can't make them accept Christ. But just as long as we're out there preaching the gospel, at least one person will be worth it.
Yeah.
Let's all stand.